Kobe Hodges inside, steal by Michael Jordan.
Defensive play by Michael Jordan. Look at him, he slammed it against the board.
The most terrifying side of Michael Jordan is one that is not discussed nearly enough. See, while Jordan was busy putting up 40, he was simultaneously making sure his opponent didn't even want to touch the ball. In the history of the NBA, we define Michael Jordan by the 6 and 0. We define him by the shrug, the flu game, and the 6 rings. We talk about 30 points per game and the gravity-defying dunks that made him a global icon. But we're also talking about a man who didn't just play defense. He hunted. He was a 9-time all-defensive first-team selection, a 3-time steals leader, and the 1988 Defensive Player of the Year. He's the only player in history to win a scoring title and DPOY in the same season. I mean, think about that. That's stupid. This isn't just a highlight reel of scoring. This is the breakdown of why Michael Jordan was the most dominant defensive player to ever step on the hardwood. From the stocks to the psychological warfare, this is the story of Air Jordan's defensive reign. To understand the peak of MJ's defensive powers, you have to go back to 1988. This was the year that Jordan broke the NBA. He averaged 35 points a game, sure, but look at the other side of the stat sheet. 3.2 steals per game, 1.6 blocks per game. Think about those numbers for a shooting guard. To put that into perspective, MJ had more blocks that year than most starting centers in the league today. He was a 6'6" apex predator who functioned like a free safety in football. In '88, he didn't just win the Defensive Player of the Year award because of the stats. He won it because of the tenacity. There was a game against the Boston Celtics where he recorded 5 steals and a block, essentially terrorizing Larry Bird and Dennis Johnson. Glenn Rice once said, "You'll never find a competitor as fierce on both ends of the floor." Jordan didn't take plays off. If he missed the shot on one end, he was going to get the ball back on the other end, usually by ripping it out of your hands before you could even cross half court. What made Jordan the ultimate shutdown defender wasn't just his vertical leap. It was his lateral quickness and his massive hands. When Jordan squared you up, he wasn't just trying to stay in front of you. He was trying to suffocate you. He had this one-man trap style of defense. He'd use those huge hands to poke the ball away the second an opponent showed it. He didn't just contest shots, he anticipated them. Look at the 1991 NBA Finals against Magic Johnson. While Scottie Pippen gets a lot of the credit for the defensive switch, MJ's pressure on the perimeter was what disrupted the Lakers' Showtime rhythm. He held Magic to some of the lowest shooting percentages of his career. He did the same to Clyde Drexler in '92. Gary Payton, the glove himself, once admitted that Jordan's defense was tireless. He was a nightmare. He had this psychological edge. If he wasn't guarding you, he made it personal. He didn't just want to win, he wanted to see the hope leave your eyes. By the 1990s, Michael Jordan's defensive intensity had become the DNA of the Chicago Bulls. Phil Jackson's triangle offense gets the books, but the Bulls' defense was the engine. Jordan and Pippen created the most terrifying perimeter duo in history. They would trap, rotate, and recover with a psychic connection. MJ's refusal to give an inch set the standard. If the greatest player of all time is diving for loose balls and fighting through screens in the first quarter of a Tuesday night game in November, you better believe the rest of the team is going to follow suit. This intensity created an unbeatable identity. The 72-10 Bulls of 1996 weren't just the best offensive team, they were a defensive meat grinder. Jordan averaged 2.2 steals that year at age 32. He was still the fastest guy on the floor when it counted. Interviews with former teammates like Steve Kerr or Horace Grant always point to the same thing. Jordan's practices were harder than the games. He would defend his teammates so transitionally that by the time they faced an actual opponent, it felt like a vacation. He built a culture where defense wasn't a chore, it was a weapon. Let's talk about the stocks, steals, and blocks. MJ is the all-time leader in career blocks for a guard. He didn't just block shots from behind either. He would meet 7-footers at the rim and win. But if you want to see the ultimate proof that his defensive dominance was about willpower rather than just youth, look at January 4th, 2002. Michael Jordan is 38 years old. He's playing for the Washington Wizards against his former team, the Chicago Bulls. Earlier in the play, Ron Artest had blocked Jordan's shot. MJ was visibly frustrated. On the ensuing possession, Ron Mercer gets a fast break layup. He thinks he has an easy 2. And then from out of nowhere, a nearly 40-year-old Michael Jordan sprints back, elevates, and performs a 2-handed snatch block against the glass. He didn't just swat it, He grabbed the ball with both hands and pinned it to the backboard with such force that the arena went silent. The play wasn't about athleticism. It was about a man who refused to let anyone score on him, even in the twilight of his career. It was a reminder to the world, I'm still the apex predator. So was Michael Jordan the most dominant defensive player ever? Bill Russell had the rings, Hakeem Olajuwon had the blocks, but Michael Jordan had the versatility. He could guard the point guard, the shooting guard, and the small forward. He could do it for 40 minutes while carrying the entire offense and shutting the best offensive player on the other team down. He's the only player to ever record 200 steals and 100 blocks in a single season, a feat he accomplished twice. His defense wasn't just part of his game, it was the foundation of his greatness. When we look back at The Last Dance and the 6 banners in the United Center, we see the jump shots, but we should be looking at the defensive stance, the intensity, the refusal to be beaten. Michael Jordan didn't just change how we look at scoring, he changed how we look at winning. And he did it one steal, one block, and one shutdown at a time.